Yeah. So then, and I said there was another dog, same deal with the muzzling. This dog wasn't as bad with putting the muzzle on, but this dog was, getting back to the nail example, absolutely so fucking horrible with having its nails done. Like, nobody could do it. Nobody can handle this dog. It's a shit show at the vet. The nails were like all gross and long and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And this was one of Michelle's clients, one of her one-on-one clients. And, you know, I kind of helped her out with making sure we can get some reps in every day with it. And same deal. We were able to get the muzzle on, and then the nail trim, man, we would go to touch this dog's paw and he would just fucking explode. Just absolutely explode. And the first time we went to do it, it literally was a process of touch it. We couldn't even grab the paw. Like, touch the paw. He would freak out and try to repeatedly bite like whatever was in your hand or the Dremel or whatever it was. So we tried to let him just kind of work through it initially. It was clear that wasn't working. So we started correcting for that. Right, we started correcting for the reactivity response, the biting, and we just used an e-collar, like a high level on the e-collar, and got the dog past it. We got him to inhibit himself to the point where we were able to pick up the paws and start grinding them and achieve the compliance. Yeah. Right. Then the next day we went to do it. He was a little bit more feisty at the start of it, just because, you know, he knew when we were going to put that muzzle on, it meant that we were going to do the nails. Yeah. Right, which is an inevitable part. Listen, guys. The art of classical conditioning is a very powerful thing, right? And this is why I don't like, I'm kind of going all over the place here. This is why I don't really like this mentality of like when you're muzzle training dogs, you have to make it this positive experience of like, oh, get them to put their head in and this and that. Because the first time you actually put that, you're using the muzzle because inevitably you know you're going to have to put the dog in a stressful situation where their potential to bite is increased. Right? Yeah. So you do all this work positively conditioning in the muzzle. Yeah. And then finally you get it positively conditioned enough where you can go put this muzzle on the dog and then go take them to the vet, right? Or take them to the groomer or whatever it may be. Yeah. And then they immediately make the connection that, holy shit, I just got tricked into wanting to put my face in this muzzle so that I can go to the fucking vet, which is the worst experience in the world to me. And then the next time you go to do it, you've shot yourself in the foot, because instead of focusing on the dog, just saying, hey, you just got to put the muzzle on. Yeah. Right? Instead of focusing on that, where it doesn't matter what happens after, you just have to let me put this muzzle on. You're contingent on the dog wanting to put the muzzle on, right? But that fear response of the vet or the groomer is going to be 10 times stronger than all the positivity that you did with the muzzle, and it's not going to do you any good, right? Now, do I want the dog to have a positive association with the muzzle? 100%. Yeah. Or let's just say, I want to have a neutral association with the muzzle. I don't want them to hate it, right? But I know, getting back to classical conditioning being a powerful thing, once I solve the problem of the thing I'm needing to use the muzzle with, that association will be created no different than they may create a negative association with it initially, right? So this dog's example, right? We did like 5 days of training with this dog while he was boarding, right? Yeah. Day one, he was okay with us putting the muzzle on, because historically putting the muzzle on never really predicted anything horrible, but they've never been able to do all these things. 2, we put the muzzle on. Oh man, did the nails. That was a stressful process, but we got through it. We got compliance at the end. To day 2, didn't want us to put the muzzle on because he knew the nails was going to happen. So he put up a little bit of a fight putting the muzzle on. We were able to get the muzzle on. But then once we got the muzzle on, almost no fight with the nails, right? To day 3, no problem putting the muzzle on. Didn't like it, but wasn't giving us as much of a fight as he did before. And still no fight with the nails. To day 4, no fight with the muzzle. No problem getting the muzzle on. No problem with the nails. To day 5, same deal. Nice. Right? So like the progression of things is we worked through, we achieved compliance. It made putting the muzzle on a little harder, but it made the nails way easier the next time. To then, because we achieved compliance with the muzzle, because same deal, we focused on quality over quantity, not just getting it on, but making sure he was compliant to us getting it on, right? Made it easier the next time. And then we progressed through it. And now we've started to find the balance of his negative association with having the nails done is coming down every time we do it, which means that his negative association of putting the muzzle on is coming down every time that we do it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, that's, you know, I never really thought of it that way, of, you know, these people that are trying to make a positive association with the muzzle or whatever. But it's, every time you're doing it because there's going to be some negative thing that they don't really like.
Yeah. And you could say, like, well, we'll do that. And then we'll just like take our time and positively condition the nails also. But it's like every one of these things, I say it all the fucking time. Like if you're contingent on your dog liking the thing happening in order for them to allow you to do it, some of these dogs are too genetically unstable. They'll never like having their nails done. They'll never desperately want to go to the vet, right? They'll never desperately want to have all of these like weird things done to them, right? It's just a flawed mentality, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's where you get into like deeper morals with things, right? Yeah. I think it was when we had Brent and Mariano on the Dog Trainers Podcast, guys. I think Brent said something, or maybe Mariano, I don't remember which one. That one of them said something that I thought was very interesting when we were talking about like the force-free world versus the balanced world of training and like some of the issues and stuff there. He said, when you're starting with a moral difference with stuff, like where I morally think what you believe or what you're doing is wrong, it's almost impossible to find like a middle ground with it.
True.
Right? It's not like we're debating just a method here and like the effectiveness of it. We're debating the morals of it, right? And when I look at the moral difference between I get past behavioral issues by ensuring the dog likes them or has a positive association with them versus the moral side of I believe that dogs should just be compliant to us over certain things, right?
Yeah.
That's a crossroads that's very hard to find common ground on.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially when one side thinks like the morals of one is like so bad. Like if you want to do it that way and you're able to do it successfully, like from my side looking in, like if you want to create a positive associate with your dog and you're able to get your goals achieved with that, I don't think there's anything morally wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't think you're a bad person over it. But from the other side in, you saying that you believe that dogs should be compliant to you, like people equate that to like slavery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they equate to that like, oh, you think your dog should just be a fucking slave to you, right? They're an individual, right? They have rights and this and that, which like I agree with a lot of those things. Like I don't think that they're just our slaves, right?
Yeah.
But they look at it from that lens, which automatically equates you to just being a bad person.
Yeah.